It flies different. When you touch it, the grip is very different as well. So
That's nice. That is good. Just me today. I know you lot like I want to have a chat with the lads, but I just thought we had to have a bit of one-on-one. But anyone in the comments who's still going, why aren't you going to bring the studio back? Can you just stop talking about the old studio? Because I'm fucking sick of it. It's not me trying to withhold you from having this studio. I moved away from the boys. I live in the middle of nowhere, and I'm a happy man, right? I love it. I've never been happier. In fact, so a lot of you who care about me, who don't just come to abuse me in the comments, I just want you to know this is perfect for me and I bloody love it this way. So thanks to everyone who doesn't complain about the fact that we don't have a studio anymore. Now today I'm going to talk about Arsenal versus Newcastle in the League Cup, and I'm not just going to talk about Newcastle. I want to give Arsenal fans a bit of a review from the opposition here of what I thought of their performance as well. Now, obviously, I thought it was an amazing performance from Newcastle, right? To go away to Arsenal, one of the best teams in the world, and to put that level of fight up, that level of performance, it's very rare you see that. And weirdly, I'm getting kind of used to it because this season has gone from one extreme to the other overnight, and I'll get onto that. But Arsenal were, outside of Bukayo Saka, at full strength. Martinelli had a good chance. He hit the post. Havertz missed an absolute sitter. Couldn't even hit the target. Other than that, I didn't feel what I thought we were going to feel in that game, which was like a wave after wave of attack and, the pressure really to build. It felt comfortable towards the end, which is surprising. And partly that's down to Newcastle defending like absolute animals, but partly it's also down to the lack of quality going forward for Arsenal. For a team at their level, you'd have expected more. And honestly, we rolled these Southern softies over and we tickled their bellies. Do you know what I mean? We didn't have to roll them over. They threw themselves on the floor quite often. That must be coached by Arteta, by the way. The way Arsenal players hit the deck sometimes is unbelievable. But I think overall, Newcastle players just wanted it more. Like that really felt obvious in the game, especially without Bruno Guimaraes, right? Yeah, they didn't have Saka. We didn't have our captain. He is one of our best players easily, and yet we still outfought them. We kept Odegaard quiet, which is key because he is a top player, but I thought Arteta just looked out of ideas from the bench. He's bought a lot of new signings in the summer, and he's not using them. I think that speaks volumes in the fact of the way he spent the money. He doesn't even rate them himself now. And when Saka isn't playing, Arsenal just don't have that major threat. And Havertz was easy for our big centre-backs to deal with. And when Arsenal are out of ideas, they normally go to set pieces, right? That's their thing. But with Newcastle, we've got such fucking mountains in our side that we see those off quite comfortably. And I think that is one of the reasons why Arteta often comes unstuck against Eddie Howe. We've just got more big, strong fighting players. I mean, our lads, to be fair to them, there's not many Premier League sides who you would pick over, us to win in a fight. We fight for every ball, and we've got a bunch of big, strong lads. It's a hard night's work against Newcastle. And Eddie had to take Isak off because of a bit of tightness in his hamstring, apparently, and he also took Gordon off, and I thought to myself, like, fucking hell, Eddie, you're really shutting up shop early here. Like, this is slightly worrying that we're inviting pressure on, which we've done a fair bit lately in games. But we defended beautifully. I mean, we really shut this game down in Jose Mourinho fashion. And I think that's the thing that would sort of piss Arsenal fans off the most, is that we were able to do that so successfully. We shouldn't really be able to go to the Emirates and do that like that. And the fact that this tie is now basically over, if you're looking in previous, semi-finals where a team has won 2-0 and always gone on to the final, it's a bit humiliating for Arsenal, right? This is a team that's supposed to be pushing for trophies. This is really the time where Arteta, this year, next year, is got to deliver something. To see that go the way it did for them, where they're already out of the tie, it's damning, really, on Arteta, and I think that's probably why he looked so emotional, bless him, after the final whistle. He's really in danger now of becoming an early man, much like Pochettino at Spurs, right? You have this window of opportunity, and they're just not capitalising on it. And to a degree, it's his own fault, right? You spend all that money on Havertz, on Jesus. Fuck me, they could have really signed a potent striker quite easily in that time. And it's quite funny that this comes off the back of the Spurs game for Newcastle, where Big Ange was acting like a big fucking baby after the match, saying we would have definitely have won that game if it wasn't for a fair and even playing ground or whatever the bullshit he came out with. And it's like, we're quality us. And that level of disrespect actually is embarrassing when we've now beaten Arsenal a lot lately, to be honest with you. Is that Big Ange? Has Big Ange beaten Arsenal yet since he got the job? I don't remember. I actually genuinely don't remember, but I don't think so. If he has, fair fucks, but we're a quality side and we deserve that respect when we go away to Man United, Spurs, Arsenal, and pick up points on the road. Obviously, not points in the League Cup, but we're showing a level of mental strength, a winning mentality that it makes us a problem for anyone. And ironically, that the fact that we seen that game out the way we did is exactly what Big Ange can't do. It's the thing he struggles with the most. So it's just funny to like for him to be sat at home probably watching that game, knowing like you could learn a thing or two from us, you fucking bitch. The way that guy went on after that, it really was embarrassing. So I just have to stick the needle in there. And I need to give Eddie his flowers big time at this point in the season. No matter what happens for the rest of the season, that was like a Jose Mourinho masterclass performance, right? People won't really appreciate what we're doing here, but I'm seeing real potential now. From where we were especially, it's outrageous what we've done this season. I'd given up. I'd absolutely given up on Eddie, on the players, on everything, because of the consistently shocking, effortless performances where we were going to grounds and feeling sorry for ourselves. That winning desire that you're seeing now had left us. It's very rare when players stop playing for each other, stop playing for the manager, that you can get that back together. It almost never. In fact. And that was why I'd given up. I thought, Eddie, unless he turned this around, I said, unless he turns it around, he's got to get sacked. That was true, right? I stand by that. Some of those results, I mean, we'll get humped by Brentford, beaten at home by West Ham. I mean, fuck me, who hasn't beaten them this season? Brighton at home, losing that. Everton struggling against Everton. If we'd have had this level of intensity then, where would we be in the league? Probably in a fucking title race. So I stand by the anger and the frustration and the disappointment at that time, because the players would have had it with themselves, clearly. And I think apparently what Eddie has done is there was a home truth moment from out the whole squad after the Brentford defeat. And then Eddie went and did one-on-one reviews with each player and told them that what they needed to know about their game. And that level of truth, it can break a team apart. But if you've got that team spirit, if you've got that camaraderie, it can bring you together. And I've got to say, well done to the lads. They've recovered in a way I never ever thought possible. Really, they've shocked us. I've not seen anything like this. I mean, maybe Leicester when they were like, a relegation battle and then winning the league is the most extreme example. But outside of that, it hardly ever happens. This is a miraculous recovery. Mid-season. Not after a summer. Mid-season. Not after buying a load of players. Mid-season recovery. Unbelievable. And the messaging hasn't gone stale, and I was worried it had. And intensity is once again our identity. And that is why we're picking up all these points. And I actually think Eddie's just got Arteta's number now. Considering the level of quality in Arsenal's team, for us to win as many as we have recently, I think it says a lot about the coaching and a lot about the tactics. And when you see Eddie in this sort of form and turning this around the way he has done, you just wonder, what if he had money? What if we did have a bench? And, we could bring players off and actually impact the game? Because we pretty much can't. We have no bench. It isn't fucking fair, but the fact that we're competing still, I've got to give them credit, and I just hope if we can add a few more players, you're looking at the transitional phase that Liverpool are about to go through. You're looking at Arteta struggling to make things click and Forest breaking through and showing us what's possible. Newcastle have real fucking potential as a club right now, and it's fucking exciting again. We just need to make this count. We just need to get our hands on some silverware this season. We've got to learn from the past mistakes. We didn't show up in the final against Manchester United, a really poor Man United side that we pretty much have beaten relentlessly in and around that whole period of time, and that was the one time we bottled it. We cannot bottle it again. Even if we don't win, we've got to give our best showing of ourselves. And if it is Liverpool, it's going to be fucking hard. It's probably the worst team in the world to get in that final. So come on, Big Ange. Sorry about what I said earlier. But we need a fucking win. We need a win in this cup. We really do. Because that would be a game changer for this football club. I want to talk about a few of the players. Obviously, Dubravka might have been his last game. Well done to him. He's really come into form lately just when we needed it. The back four, Lewis Hall is one of the most improved players in the league this season. He is really looking like he will be England's left back for years and years to come now. Livramento, you could say the same. My critique of Livramento would be with the ball. He struggles sometimes. He looks a little bit confused. He's not sure what to do. And at times he really is good with the ball, but I think that's where his main weakness is. As a defender, he's fucking fantastic. The back two, Sven Botman coming back in from injury and slotting in like the fucking Rolls Royce that he used to look like is a relief, right? Because when you have such a massive injury, and also before he got the operation, he was looking bad in games, right? It was clear that operation was long overdue. I hope that he can continue looking like this, because we've seen Van Dijk come back, a lot of them don't. But the man I really want to highlight this season is Dan Burn. He's a local lad. We signed him for 10 million. What a signing he has been for this football club. Playing left back against PSG, you know, now slotting in at centre back, which I think is his best position by a mile, and showing leadership quality, showing passion, desire. You need players like that really to win things. You know, I seen a Man United fan on social earlier talking about how we're quite similar to the old Fergie teams. Not as good, before anyone jumps down my throat, in that we've got local players in there, or players who understand what it fucking means, as well as quality. The size and the strength, the passion, the desire. There's a lot of good ingredients in our team. And Dan Burn is the epitome of a lot of that. In midfield, Bruno didn't play, but I just want to say still, what a recovery from his game. Because earlier this season, there was a few shockers, right? There was a few where you know the level of him, so you're more critical of him, and you're more disappointed when you don't get that level of quality from his game. And he is absolutely recovered, revived, and delivered in being that controller in the midfield. And I think if one thing has helped that the most, it's the emergence of Sandro Tonali, who is now not playing on the bench behind Longstaff, as I was calling for a long time. I mean, fuck me. Sandro Tonali in that number 6 role is just cleaning house. He is the janitor, right? He is just sweeping everything up. He's moving the game forward for us, and it's perfect. And he's got that quality in front of goal as well, occasionally to nick a goal. We're now seeing what we spent the money on, and he's looking every bit worth every penny of the 50 million that was spent on him. Big Joe Linton, the monster. You know you've got a good player when every other team hates him, right? He's our bastard. He's our bastard for sure. Not just the size and the strength of him, but the fact that he gallops around that pitch, covers so much ground, works tirelessly. He sets the tone, right? He smashes into the players. He lets everyone know you're in a fucking fight today. It ain't going to be easy for you. This is why we beat Arsenal. Players like him are exactly why we constantly, well, not constantly, but we've beaten Arsenal a fair bit lately. He is the embodiment of that level of desire in this team. I thought Willock wasn't at his best, to be honest. I'm really not having a go at Willock, but I really want to see Lewis Miley given more minutes. The quality he showed at points last season, only 17 years old, he has a massive future, in my opinion. I understand Eddie's trying to blood him in slowly, but I mean, come on, mate. He was playing against PSG last season and looking like he belonged. What were we waiting for here? With Lewis Hall, he took his time and it's worked. So it's hard to question Eddie, but I'm desperate to see Miley, a Geordie lad, given more minutes in this team. But going forward, and a lot of fans admitted this from the Arsenal side, that was the difference maker, especially last night. Murphy, who I've criticised ridiculously, has absolutely transformed. I can't believe what I'm watching. Maybe Chris Wood for Forest is a similar level of transformation this season, maybe a bit more arguably. Murphy has a connection with Alexander Isak that you just dream of. It reminds me of the old days of, you know, when Ryan Giggs would have his connections with the Man United strikers, or David Ginola whipping balls in for Newcastle. Like, maybe not that level of flair of them, but it's so important that your wide men can find your striker religiously, and he does. It's like a magnet, and he just keeps getting assist after assist after assist, because as soon as he gets that ball, he knows his job is to find Alexander Isak every single time. It's not, you know, when you look at the struggles Manchester United have had, you see that their wingers are half in the mind of, am I going to score? Am I the main man? And that's where Højlund struggled at times. There is no doubt what your job is as a winger at Newcastle. Give the ball to Isak. And Gordon understands that as well. Gordon's back to his best, right? He really sets the tone in that attack as well, of breathing down the necks of those defenders. He never stops running. And the quality that we've seen out of him for 40 million, which used to be a massive amount of money, and now it's not even a guarantee. What a signing he has been. I mean, that is one of the best signings Newcastle have ever made. Goals and assists for days, hard work. He's got the lot. And he's one of the best in the league when he's playing like this, no doubt about it. And obviously, I've got to finally come on to the man of the moment, Alexander Isak, a man who I was telling everyone in his first season, this guy is world class. I seen it immediately. I called it. I was ridiculed for it on the kickoff, which is now looking aging by the day because it was my boy Marvin, the Arsenal fan, who was giving me shit for saying that he was a bit like Henry, which was a very early call. And now I think we're seeing him grow more and more into that player. And look, Henry is a god, right? Like, I'm not fucking putting Isak quite there yet. But in the modern day, we often see footballers who, they don't really get you that excited, do they? Like the way the Pep Guardiola has changed the game, it's not as much about individuals. But when Isak gets that ball, everyone immediately, you just sit a little bit more forward, your eyes open a little bit more. What is he going to do? Because he is capable of absolute magic. And yes, he has the odd moment where, like every player does, where he makes a mistake. But right now, is there a better player in the world? Like, really? Maybe Mo Salah? Do you know what I mean? We're really, like, there's a handful, maybe. And when people talk about his valuation and you say like Caicedo 100 million, Declan Rice 100 million, I'm like, well, he's worth them two put together. 150 actually doesn't do him justice because to replace him is you can't. So he's worth at least two of those level of players. And I know Arsenal fans kind of feel like, oh, he'd be perfect for us. And he would, like, he'd win them the league, right? He would win them the league, in my opinion, without a doubt. But how far away are Newcastle from Arsenal after that game? When you look at the performances that we've been putting in lately, when you look at how quickly Arsenal did get themselves into those title races, can we do the same? Can we get ourselves up there with a few more signings? It is possible. So I think for Isak, with 3 years left on his contract, to go now for Champions League football, I would understand, right? He needs Champions League football. I think that's possible with Newcastle again now. Fuck me, I never thought I'd say that this season. No disrespect to Arsenal, but it's not like they're serial winners. He could go to a Real Madrid at some point, you know? So I don't think that the necessity for us to sell Isak is in any way, shape or form in front of us yet. I think Bruno would be out the door quicker than him. No disrespect to Bruno, because I hope we don't fucking sell him, but because of his age. So I think Arsenal fans are getting a little carried away with the Isak link, and I think they're going to have to cut their cloth to suit, and it'll probably not be him who goes there. And I actually think that this game just kind of showed why they're not going to win the league this season. And it's not because they're not a good team. They're a fucking good side. But when it comes to potency, they just don't have it on the level that title winners should have it. And they don't even have it on the level that we have it. And we're not even where they are. So I think that says it all. But look, the tie isn't over yet. Maybe I could be proven wrong, but surely we can't fuck this up now, could we? We'll find out. Let me know what you thought of all of that in the comments below. Appreciate everyone who subscribes to the kickoff. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one.